Yo, welcome everyone. Good day, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Faded Connections podcast, episode number 2. I'm here with WaifuGate, and my name is CatmasterOP, and we're going to talk about Path of Exile at length, about our progress in the Bestiary League, about the Elder Ring meta, and about how we're going to plan to get big returns for the next couple of weeks until we get into the new league. So, how have you been doing, waifu?
I've been doing pretty well overall. Like the last week or so, I've been having a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Me too. Do you want to go first? What exactly brought you a lot of fun in the last couple of days, weeks?
Oh yeah, sure. Lately, I've taken the step into hardcore. I started with an immolate archer, and it was an experience. The leveling process was a little slow. I was using Molten Strike and taking it easy. I was afraid on a lot of the bosses still. I was still getting comfortable in that aspect. And I ended up getting too big for my britches. I went into a T8 map with about 3.2k HP or 3.5k HP and like 1000 mind over matter. And I didn't re-roll an abomination map.
Okay, abominations are the things that are in the belly of the beast, right?
Yeah, so the corpse exploders, right?
Well, the Stygian revenants do like a corpse explosion sort of thing, right?
Yeah. So I just didn't put 2 and 2 together. It was in the back of my head for about a split second, and then by then it was too late. Like 5 of them, like they were hidden in another room, like behind a door. And I cleared out a pack and I stepped into the doorway just a little bit. And then I saw one of the explosions go off, and then 4 right after that. And the whole pack was just gone, like the whole thing. And yeah, so it's just hardcore pretty much.
Yeah, have you played any hardcore since the last time I saw you play hardcore was during the race season when they did the Mayhem and the Turmoil race events, and then you did some solo self-found action in Mayhem?
Yeah, I did solo self-found in Mayhem, and then I also tried to do a bit of hardcore with an immolate archer actually in Abyss for a little while. Remember the traditional like Kitava kill? That sort of thing. Like I wanted to kill Kitava, and I was planning on playing hardcore a little bit, but I just couldn't get into it during Abyss. I don't know, maybe Abyss was too rippy for me or something. Not that the beasts are much better than the abysses, really. I guess the abysses are more of a constant threat, and the beasts you can sort of predict if you're watching your overlay map. You can see the little indicators.
Right, yeah. Well,
And I mean,
but the abysses you have to trigger in order to get into danger, right?
That's true. But
like
you
they're
feel
100% avoidable.
Yeah, and I could make the argument that I want to interact with the league mechanic, but I'm definitely skipping the red beast, right?
Yeah, while leveling. Unless it's like what was it, the Sackwine Wretch that gives you the unique belt craft, like item level 40 plus. You kind of want to get those because it's like everyone can be, that headhunter.
Right, yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, I also lately, like 2 nights ago, one of my viewers, TY Anna, I think. I can't remember if you pronounce it Anya or Aya, but they asked me if I wanted a +1 Rigwaltz and a +1 Windripper.
What?
And
seriously?
And that was, yeah. I thought about it for a second, and I was like, "This is a pretty big handout. I don't even know if I'm okay with it." And then
it's
I was
unethical.
just like, "Well, if you're done with the league, that saves me a lot of currency grind, and I'll be able to push it a little bit more like faster. I'll be able to farm faster." So I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. If they're gonna be nice enough to offer, I'll go !IGN to get this nice stuff.
Oh, nice.
So when people ask me if how I got my quiver and my bow, I get to say, "Oh, I just typed in !IGN."
Awesome, man.
So,
That's pretty sick. But then aren't you afraid to die with that stuff?
not on softcore.
Oh.
It's on softcore.
Oh, okay. No, I thought you got that for hardcore.
Oh no, dude, I would never play with that in hardcore. I wouldn't have accepted. I would have been like, no, that's more worth it for you to have it in hardcore, you know. So
Okay.
like just in hardcore standard or whatever, that probably goes for a lot even there.
Like, yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
What have you been up to, man?
Well, yeah, you know my story. The league wasn't the greatest for me because I got really frustrated after I failed to re-level. Like, so in the beginning, for the people who don't know, I was rushing the ladder in the hardcore bestiary league, and I died at rank 2 assassin, level 86, like something end of day 2. And then I failed to re-level with the re-leveling projects, like ripped like 2 tabulas on Inquisitors or like Templars. And I got really frustrated, and then I did some racing practice. But eventually, recently, I've rolled this dual-wield block character, like an Ascendant. I mean, I did Ascendant on my Frostblades character last league. That was really popular after I made that build guide about it. And now I just wanted to put a different touch on it. Seeing
I
that,
figured you'd eventually come back to Ascendant. You usually
well, Ascendant is just really nice when you have a lot of currency to invest. Like,
right.
It's not really that nice as a league starter, but it's just, you know, you have access to so many jewel sockets and you can span that tree so easily. You get so many points. It's really good. So this time around, I tried to make dual wield block work, and I was like, yeah, dual wielding Scavas, these 5C Gladius swords, and I actually ended up unlocking most of my Atlas with that. This is like, well, not most of it, but you know, like the essentials. Like my Atlas looked like completely empty after obviously I got frustrated and didn't play a lot. And yeah, now I'm sitting at like 80% Atlas bonus completion, like 80 maps.
Nice.
Thing.
That's pretty
And
solid.
It's not where I want to be, but it's better than where I was before.
Yeah, it's a good start in comparison to like 12 or something or 20.
Yeah, exactly. And I got my Elder Ring set up now with that character. What?
I don't know how much bonus I have. I think I have something like 16.
Well, people recommend around 100. What, 16?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah, for my for hardcore.
Yeah, hardcore. You just started in hardcore.
Yeah, I can take a picture of my Atlas, but yeah, I've got 23, the big 2-3. I've got that Shaper's memory fragment, like that memory fragment right on Overgrown Ruins still. Oh man, I want to get that. I'm gonna take it slow though.
Yeah. Yeah, just out level everything really.
Very well.
Yeah.
What? I did switch my my notifications off. That Wolfio host.
Yeah. Nice. Thank you, Wolfio.
Professional broadcasting here. I did think let me quickly make sure that my alerts are off. That would be unfortunate. People were to exploit that.
Yeah, I gotcha. But yeah, like it's been a trip going into hardcore. Like I've actually enjoyed it quite a bit. The leveling process is a lot different. You have to be a lot more engaged with it. For sure.
Yeah, what did I want to say? I was talking about the block ascendant that I unlocked most of my Atlas with, and I actually ended up spawning Elder in the wrong side of the map and killed him, and moved it all to the other side, and eventually I killed myself to beast crafting.
Yeah.
So I had to make make a new character. That's what I'm doing right now. I ended up deciding for a Blade Vortex obliteration build again because it's just so satisfying to see the enemies go pop, pop, poof, poof.
Yeah, I was really excited when you decided to jump back into that character. It was one of those characters I enjoyed tuning into the stream to check out. I've always been interested in those wands. So
Well, last time I did it, I just did it live based because I didn't have the currency to switch it to CI. But now I actually switched it to CI before Kitava. I like at level 71, I did Merciless Lab and everything, and switched it to CI, and I ended up like having 7,000 like. I think 7,600 ES or something crazy like that. Just prior
that's
to
so
Kitava.
much effective life before Kitava. Like
And then
I wish I had that, man.
4,400 ES recharge per second. So like it's basically impossible to die to Kitava now because there's always like a window where you can step to the side, not take damage, start recharge, and then the recharge can't be interrupted because of Wicked Ward of the Occultist, and it's
Right, like if you're familiar with the fight at all, like you're fine in that situation because you'll always be able to predict what's going to happen and just be able to avoid it.
Exactly. And well, you don't have to avoid most of it. That's the thing. You just have to, always have to have a window where you don't take damage, where you can stand. But,
Right.
It's also so much stronger with a full ES build because you can utilize all your flask slots for utility flasks, and that makes your effective life pool even bigger, at least against physical hits, because you're able to rock a granite and basalt on top of each other.
Yeah, Basalt's so good. I'm still not set on my flask situation for my Spectre character. I'm thinking that if I keep Mind over Matter, I want to keep a mana flask, and I want to have a life flask, obviously. And then I have, like, right now, I just have a Granite, a Stibnite, and a Quicksilver, and I think that's okay, since I'm not really casting anything aside from Convocation. So I don't think an Onslaught flask beats out a Quicksilver as far as like the flask slot goes. I want to figure out a way to get Onslaught into the build, but I don't know.
Onslaught just on Abyss Jewels. Chance to gain Onslaught on kill. That's how everyone does it, I think. I mean, it's just super strong. You could also stack it, and you can get a really high chance. I think the high roll is 6 to 8%, so 8% to your chance to gain Onslaught on kills, I think, possible. And then you can get like 3 of those, that's 24%. That's like on average every 4th monster.
Right. I've been sustaining on 1 on my Wind Ripper, but that's like Headhunter clear speed. Like I'm able to move pack to pack to pack pretty fast. But I think just 1 like 5% roll, I could probably keep it up most of the time. With the Spectres are crazy, man. Like they're on like
I'm sorry. I wasn't even thinking Spectres, of course. When the Spectres get the kills, you don't get the Onslaught if you have a chance to get Onslaught. No, you'd have to get the killing blow.
No.
But you want to give the Spectres Onslaught or what?
I don't know. I just wanted Onslaught for myself because
I like
to
move faster,
just for shield charge.
Yeah, then
which
you'll
is
have
why
to use
it's
a
like
flask.
It's on the back burner, right? Like I would much rather have a Stibnite flask than an Onslaught flask, 100%. So, 100%. But
Stibnite is just too good to sacrifice in hardcore.
I figured out very soon that like Immolate Archer, like that whole Tarky Cat experience with Elemental Overload and stuff, and trying to rig my own tree up for it based off of that like idea. It's really hard to do as a first character.
Yes, you need levels on Immolate.
Yeah,
so you're so dependent on that.
Yeah, I bought a 2020 Immolate for 4C. I thought it was a really good deal. I was like, yes, because normally, like all my other gems that I wanted to get were at least 10C, which was just way out of my budget.
You bought one even.
Yeah, I bought one,
and it still sucks.
And it still sucked. Yep. It was just awful. I don't know whether it was because Tarky went with Slayer and he was getting 20% more damage in the Onslaught and stuff. I had Onslaught though. That wasn't the issue. Like I had an Onslaught buff and whatnot. It was just, it still felt like Garbo. Like I couldn't clear white mobs sometimes, man. Like it would take me 2 shots to kill white mobs, like a pack of whites, and I was like I was like, I'm gonna.
You're spoiled by all the clear speed and software.
Yeah, but I mean, white monsters, Catmaster. Like, I should just kill Cash.
White
You know what I'm
monsters.
saying, in
They're,
one
they're
shot.
supposed to fall to the ground as soon as you look at them.
Yeah, exactly. I had like Mirage Archer and stuff too. Like, I was on a 6 link for a Tabula. You know what I'm saying? Like, I should have had the clear speed for it.
Okay, yeah, then, yeah, if you have a tabula, then arguably.
I'd understand if I was on a 4 link or a 5 link or something, and it was sort of, poverty, but it was, I don't know, man. It was bad. Maybe I'll revisit that character way later when I have like the tornado shot enchant and like all of the other stuff for it to feel good. But
Yeah, I think Tornado Shot enchant is actually a big one for that build.
yeah, I think so too. Oh man,
I should play a build like that. I need to do something with that perfect form in my stash. I have a 6-link perfect form since I 6-linked it, and I don't know what to do with it because in every build that I can come up with, Belly is better than perfect form.
Yeah, I think perfect form is actually really good on something like Essence Drain. I think it's good on Essence Drain.
It's good for everything that is not close to aggro in the tree. If you get phase aggro without having to pick up aggro, it's actually good, I think.
Nice. Yeah,
and it's good for any dex scaling build because it has increased dex as a stat on it. So if you were doing like a siege ballista sort of thing.
Right. Yep. Okay. Yeah.
Iron Commander.
Whenever I heard perfect form, I thought of the Cheula armor, and I was like, wait, how did he 6-link that?
Oh,
like,
dude, I got like a Cheula Breachstone from a Breachstone card set earlier.
Oh, nice.
Dude, and before that, I got 5 chaos from Emperor's Luck. I was like, this is my birthday.
Nice, hot streak, man. I think the best luck I had on hardcore was getting Vol wins off of a prophecy. It hasn't sold yet, but I have it up for 15C, which is a lot for me in hardcore. I heard that you can trade currency between leagues, Catmaster. You can trade it from softcore to hardcore, but you can't do it from temp league to standard league.
Yeah, only in between temp leagues or in between permanent leagues, but not
I thought
no exchange.
That was a bunch of bullshit. Like, I don't like, if I start in a new league, like, I think I should just have to start. Like, I think it's unethical for me.
It's unethical that you can buy with your softcore currency. I have this huge success story. Didn't I tell that on the last episode? How this guy let me have like a 6-link Belly of the Beast in the softcore temp league for half the price for half a week, like until he got until he had time to relog and get the other half of the deal. In the hardcore league. It was a cross league trade, but then like after I gave him half of the currency, because that was agreed, I give him half of the currency, I get the belly, and he gets the other half. And he was like, well, I don't feel like relogging now, give it to me like later. And it's like a week later I gave him the other half of the whatever amount of X it was. It was really weird.
That's pretty cool though. Like, it's so cool that you can make deals with people like that, and just everyone's so chill. Like, if you meet the certain people, it's just nice. Like, it's a good community.
I actually gave my first self-crafted 6-link axe, like my first 6-link that I had. I gave that to someone to mess around with, and I got it back eventually. It's like he was offline for months. And eventually he came back on and gave me a thing back, and I never expected that I would see it back.
That's really cool. And like, you do have a few outliers, like the people that try to scam you here and there. The whole you profit 35C shenanigans that happen, but I have a way of dealing with those people, right? So I usually just invite them to party, and then I think you've seen me do this, Catmaster, with scammers. Like,
no, what do you do with scammers?
With scammers, I invite them to party, and then I pop open the trade window, and I go refill my water, and I stretch if the trade window is still up there after I come back. Like, I pop open the trade, and I just waste as much of their time as possible every time.
It reminds me of a fellow Twitch streamer that I've been watching. Like, he always calls scam hotlines, like tech scam hotlines and stuff like that. Wastes their time and pretends he's like an old lady who doesn't understand shit. And in the end, it's like 1-2 hours gone. And they get so upset at him. It's hilarious. Good
Like
stuff.
my theory behind it, as long as I'm not wasting my own time, it's good. And if he's getting enjoyment out of that, then he's not wasting his own time, and that's awesome. So
Nice. So, did you mess around at all with that Elder Ring, or maybe we should explain what an Elder Ring is first for the people who are not as familiar with Path of Exile as we are. So, with the mechanics that were introduced in War of the Atlas, with the Elder and Shaper influence, there is a rule set that is hidden, which is that after Shaper gets an influence over at least 20 maps, Elder gets an influence over at least 20 maps, he spawns somewhere, and he can have a maximum influence of 30 maps, and Elder and his guardians must always be connected through influence. And the community quickly found out that there is like an option to create permanent Elder influence on a ring of maps if you interrupt the path in between the guardian and his Elder, or the other way around, the Elder and his guardian. And have you messed around with Elder rings at all?
I have, but I still am grasping the fundamentals behind it all. For the most part, I just started to basically what happened was I ended up lucking out on my Elder spawn. So I looked at my Elder spawn after my Haunted Mansion thing went off.
Okay.
Because originally I was just doing a flip between Haunted Mansion with Shaper and Elder. And then what happened was I was looking into Elder Rings because I was like, well, if I want to do the most optimal setup for Underground Seas and possibly Haunted Mansion, I need to look into it and do some research. So I stumbled across Marty's guide for it.
Yeah, Marty.
And I looked, and I had the mirror opposite. So Marty has his ring set up on the top of the Atlas across like near Cursed Crypts and whatnot up top. They go through all those maps up there. And mine was mirrored down at the bottom, pretty much. Same exact setup. And I was like, oh, I could probably do
same
this
path, but different Elder position.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yep, same path, different Elder position. Same exact thing, basically. And so I went into his chat and I talked to him for a little bit. It was the first time I actually hung out in Marty's chat before. I didn't have him followed for some reason, but the dude is pretty awesome.
He's an insane hardcore player.
Oh yeah, he's cool. He's awesome. He's so chill too.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I asked him like, what should I do? Which guardian should I cut off? And I was like worrying about it because I didn't want to fuck up my perfect spawn, right? And he was like, oh yeah, that's super simple. Just do X and Y and then do this and you can have the same exact ring I have. And the process took me about, 10 hours, but it's because I was taking my time with it. Even though I already had Elder spawned, it took me 10 hours in the right spot because I wanted to make sure I didn't beef it and ruin my ring. So I was just every step of the way, I was double checking myself to make sure I was doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And Elder cleaved me a little bit here and there. Like I'd get the little hook going, so it was halfway and halfway, and I'd start moving the maps, and then it'd be cut down to like a little, horseshoe again, and eventually it went well, but it did take a while.
I watched Pox trying to get a setup all around the middle, and it just broke so many times, and eventually he got it, but it takes some persistence.
Yeah.
And also for me, it happened so many times, so like. My Survive just mentioned it in chat. I got pretty lucky with my Elder spawn because the second Elder I spawned after my first one was accidental. I was like on the right side of the Atlas and I was, just messing around, not aware that as soon as I would give influence to 20 or more maps, that Elder would spawn, and then it accidentally happened. And I was like, damn, what do I do now? I don't want him there, and I wanted to do the Burial Chambers thing, or at least try it, and then turned out, I had to beat him. And so I went and did a White Elder in hardcore. I never did Elder before. It was I'm completely new to that content, and then the Guardians looked, for the most part, also pretty scary. I mean, if you don't know what they do, and the animations look very intimidating. But my block character was actually very well tailored against those enemies, because they're not as you know, there's not that many hits, and then even like none of the hits would one-shot me. And I actually equipped a Bloodseeker paw instead of one of
Oh,
my
yeah.
swords, so I could instant leech on at least half of my hits because I was dual wielding, so I was alternating in between weapons. But Bloodseeker gives you that instant leech on hits with that weapon, and yeah, it went pretty well in the end. It's really funny. The character like beat White Elder without larger problems. I killed tier 13 Lair Riegwald, but I died to some stupid some stupid beasts. Exactly.
Haha.
Yeah, in the menagerie, the monster level 74 or something. Completely stupid.
Yeah. Just
Anyway,
absolutely destroyed.
what I wanted to say is like you need a one of I think two very very specific spawns in order to get permanent influence on burial chambers, and like directly the second spawn that I got was one of those spawns. So I set up my ring for permanent influence on burial chambers, and I'm set now. And I got also you know, some other great maps. Like I said, Lair is in there. I got some underground sea in my ring. I got the plan to get waterways into the ring as well. We got some race course, some what's the other one? Quality maps, definitely.
Oh yeah,
I'm
because
very
you have
happy.
your ring going through some red maps too, so that you
Yeah,
can
it's
have
only
a
on the
wide enough
left side.
circle.
It doesn't go
Right.
doesn't go through the whole atlas, but you know, is on one side, and as such, like the nature of one side is, you know, like there's a if there's a ring on just one side of the atlas, it has to go through all the difficulties, all the map tiers, kind
Right.
of. If you, I mean, you need a 30 map ring that is locked somewhere in the corner.
Right.
Otherwise,
Right.
you don't get a stable permanent influence.
Yeah, I was looking at different setups because I was interested in of all maps I know, right? Arcade, because it drops an exalted card. It's like a 1 for 10 div card, and it gives you 2 exalted orbs. And I did arcade map a few times just to test out the layout, and it's super easy to full clear it. Like you just go up one side, and it's like a box, so you just follow one side, kill the boss, and then you come back down. And it's just I would have like 3 or 4 monsters remaining every time, and the density was actually really good.
Nice.
Um, but it only has like one possible spawn for Elder to get Arcade into an Elder ring. I think I was messing around on that site that
Yeah.
tells you it's like PoE Atlas or whatever.
poecraft.com/atlas.
Craft. There we go.
I'm quickly going to link that in chat so people
Okay,
can
nice.
bookmark that.
Yeah, good.
That's a really, really good community made tool for
Yeah.
calculating possible elder rings with your elder spawn. Definitely want to check that out.
But yeah, it should be pretty good. And so like I was looking at different options for that, and it was just almost impossible to shift my soft core ring around for that when I already have one that includes, like my current one includes Underground City. It's got Haunted Mansion. Those are the 2 main ones, and then there are a bunch of other maps that I like to run anyway, just in general. So you know, I just didn't want to mess with it since I got it all set up, you know, and it took so much time to risk it on, because there's like what 2 months left on the league, like less than that now, I think, right? Like it's like a month and like 2 weeks or something, maybe a month and 3 weeks, I'm not sure. But I just didn't want to mess with my ring now that I have it set up. Instead, I figured I could mess with my ring on hardcore if I have the balls for it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Like
Try play around with that mechanic because it's super
yeah.
interesting and super refreshing, I think, for the game.
I'm just afraid of the Superman punch mobs, the
Superman
demons
punch
that
mobs?
yeah, the ones that just come out of the null portals and just Superman punch you into orbit. I'm afraid of that. So I don't know if I
Kitava's
want.
heralds, you mean?
Yeah, Kitava's heralds. There we go. Yep, those guys. They're really bad.
Quickly bringing up a picture because that was requested of my atlas.
Oh yeah, from
So
Krabby.
this is my current setup, as you guys can see. So yeah, all the nice maps here, all the goodness, underground sea in there. I'm using a shaped excavation. I don't have all the sextants yet, but as soon as I have some sextants, give me a second. As soon as I get my sextant limit up to 5, I can do some multi-sextanted shaped excavation here. I'm looking forward to that because excavation is actually a really nice map now after they changed it. It's almost linear, and I just like it. I liked it before, but now it's really efficient to run.
Yeah, I had that that vibe from excavation that it was one of those hidden maps that like could be really good if you could get a nice line for it, like just a path that you take to full clear it every time without trying that hard. I was getting that vibe. Same thing with arcade, like just an easy layout if you actually analyze the map for a few seconds and figure out like, you know, which path you want to take and whatnot. It's for a nice route.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about, that you need a very specific spawn in order to get permanent influence on burial chambers. You need Elder to be either on this map or on this map, like the one above marshes or below marshes. I don't even know their names right now, but yeah. And you need the Elder, then the Guardian on the other one.
I think that's Toxic Sewer, isn't it?
Yeah, one is Toxic Sewers, right? And and that one's Chateau, you think?
Chateau? No, Chateau's
I'd have to look in game. I'm
literally
literally so dependent on that in-game information.
It's not Marshes, because Marshes is
no, Marshes is this one.
Right. No, that's Chateau, I think.
Oh, that's Chateau.
No,
that's Marshes. Sorry, I'm sorry. Okay. I'm jumping. Yeah. See, that's why I didn't want to talk about it. Yeah, we need to implement the technology.
What T3 maps are there anyway? Like we have Arid Lake, but that's on the other side. Marshes. Yeah, drawn a blank for sure.
But yeah, that's definitely one way to set it up. There's many ways, which is what I personally think is so refreshing about this meta, is that there's almost an infinite way, like an infinite amount of ways to set up your Atlas now for endgame farming, which is really great.
Do you think they're gonna change the way the Elder Rings work?
I hope not, but I think almost certainly they will. Or they have to reduce the bonus loot that you get from Shaper Elder Influence dramatically. Maybe they could make Shaper Influence a lot more attractive.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think they should do. Those were my exact thoughts, was like to peel back the Elder drops a bit and then make Shaper drops more worthwhile as well, and that would strike a balance. But if anything, it's just like if you're afraid of something getting nerfed, you shouldn't stop that. Like you shouldn't let that stop you from
exploiting it now.
Yeah, exactly. Like enjoy it now before that's gone. Like same thing with like Vol Spark, Vol Fireball, all of those nice things.
Well, no, Vol Spark and Vol Fireball was just over the top. I disagree with that one. You don't have to feel ashamed if you didn't take part in that.
Well, I mean, like if it's something that you want, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I'm not mad about people having played it. I'm just like, I'm also not mad about not having played it myself.
Right. Yeah, I got you. That's understandable. But yeah, with hardcore, I might peel back on the whole Elder Ring for a second, just until I get comfortable with the atmosphere there. It's just such a different realm. I mean, I'm still playing the game and I feel comfortable in Blood Aqueducts, but I mean, come on, I'm level like 72. I haven't fought Kitava. I'm probably gonna pay for a Kitava kill. I'm gonna sell out and do that.
You can afford it.
2C. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like 2C, and it's funny. Like people are like recognizing me from hardcore. They're just like the streamer, and I'm just like,
really?
Just like, how do you know about me? You're in hardcore. How do you even know that I exist? It was one guy. It's not like it happens every time, but it was super fun.
Yeah, I have that like a couple of times that I trade in hardcore, because hardcore is such a comparably small community in comparison, especially after a couple of weeks into the league. And I had a couple of trades where like people asked me to trade. I'm like, oh, it's my viewer. I trying to buy something, like, Oh, it's a mod from my channel who hasn't been on
Right.
in a couple of months, and it's always really funny. Mm.
Yeah, it's super fun. I actually like the community a lot too in hardcore. So there's something that happens when you trade in hardcore that doesn't happen in softcore, and
Which
that
is?
is TYSS, right?
Oh, stay
Thank you,
safe.
stay
Yeah.
safe. And I think that's so nice of a thing, like that's actually something that's developed over time, and it just makes you feel so like welcome in the community. Like, you know, you're a part of something that's cool and everyone wants everyone to stay alive. In softcore, it's like, get fucked, buddy.
Yeah,
Haha.
get
You know?
wrecked, scrub.
Yeah, just like I would have paid 10 exalts for that, man. And like,
Mm.
you know, you did like a 5 exalt trade and it's just like, all right, man, but like, what are you really doing here? Like, yeah, it's just so fun. Like in hardcore, like the atmosphere is just a lot more welcoming, even though it's, I guess it's because the game is more cutthroat, like itself. Like the players are focused on surviving.
Yeah, exactly. It's
So,
more like a feeling of a survival game. Exactly. That makes
yeah,
you have this feeling of having to build a community and having to stick together and help each other out, which is
yeah.
it's a good thing.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. I didn't think I'd be able to get into it so quickly, but I actually felt the fever when I was leveling up my second character and I was excited for Spectres. I was excited for the next build, and I was like, this is how I solve my altaholic problem where I just like to make a bunch of different characters. Like I just play these characters and see where they go, you know what I mean?
Exactly, and they die eventually, and then you'll have
Yeah.
to make a new one. And it sucks. I do get that. Like sometimes you want to continue play a character. Like my dual wield block, I really wanted that build to go places. I thought like, hey, if it beats White Elder, it could do Yellow Elder maybe later on in
Right.
throughout the league. You know, when I'm done exploiting my ring and everything and spawn the Elder somewhere else, and or like unlock harder maps or you know do things. And then it's sad that the build is gone now, but it makes it so much more of an achievement to get to the point like where I died at,
Right.
because
Right.
I could have died at any point. I mean I had people in my channel, they know it, like we had tons of technical difficulties in the last weeks with blue screens, and every single one of those blue screens could have been the death of my character if it was in an
Right.
untimely moment. uh, so
Yeah,
yeah,
I
you
was also going through some technical difficulties. We had apparently we had an outage in the area for the internet,
oh
and it was causing a lot of like feedback just over the course of the next day. And so I was getting huge lag spikes here and there. I was still playing. I don't know why.
in
I just
hardcore.
didn't take a break. Yeah, and like I was getting like 200 or 300 ping here and there, like
Oh.
spikes, and I mean that's not that much, but when you're talking about bears, that's all it takes, right?
Yeah, and also
It's
also
just a
like
shield charge.
maybe playing with like 100, 200 ping is still sort of okay, but with lockstep you really notice fluctuations a lot. If you,
Yes.
it's not a
Yeah.
problem if there's like a tenth or even a fifth of a second delay, but if it's inconsistent, you know, sometimes there's a delay and sometimes you react instantly, then it's just unplayable in my opinion.
Yeah, well, like you can't get a feedback because these spikes are so infrequent, or even if they are frequent, it's hard to get the timing down to like make sure that your input is correct to avoid something like
Mm.
uh and there's not a lot of leeway. Like you practice that. You mess up once, you die. You know what I mean? And that's it for hardcore players. That's it. And
Well, you can build a build with a lot of layers of defense. I mean,
yeah, but I was
being
running an
block
immolate
helped
archer,
me.
right?
Oh yeah, that's maybe not the best choice.
So like it was just really rough. Like, what am I gonna do? Blink arrow and then not move because of the MS or whatever? Like, I don't know.
Oh god.
It's just it was rough. But long story short, we ended up resetting the router after that, and then the internet was fine. But yeah, I had that fear of losing my character. There's one time where I was leveling up the necromancer at Malagaro, like you know your first like map, that fake map.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I was fighting Malagaro, and I just fucking fat fingered my logout macro. It's right next to my one. It's tilde, and it took a while to load back in. You know what I'm saying? Like the server, if you click login, it took like 3 seconds for it to log in. I was like, oh no, it still registers me as being in there. I might have died against Malagaro. Um, turns out that like you know almost 3k HP and 1000 mana kind of gives you a bit of a cushion, right?
Okay.
Which is what I was going for, and I was fine. I survived it, but that moment where I was just like, oh man, was that it?
Oh, yeah,
And,
that sucks though if you log out and you know, oh, it didn't register.
right.
Oh, that feels bad.
Yeah, especially when it was an unnecessary logout completely. Like it was just I fat fingered it, and that's what
Dude,
it was.
I don't tell me. I died in Abyss League because a viewer asked me to say something about an ability, and I logged out and I looked something on a gem on another character, and I wanted to go back into my character. My character was gone.
Oh my god, no
It's
way,
like, what the
dude.
fuck? I just died to that.
Yeah.
That was completely unexpected. But yeah, man, I wish when I have internet problems that it would just help if I unplug the router and restart it, because that never helps
Yeah.
for me. But for me, it's just always the physical internet. It's nothing to do with our
Yeah.
router.
Right. Yeah, it's just something along the connection lines is chugging or something, or they're throttling you or whatever, basically.
I have
Like
no
out
idea.
of your control. So it happens. Basically from now on, if I feel like there's going to be some Sketchtown MS, I'm just going to log off hardcore and switch to softcore for the night. Like I just got to play it safe.
Yeah,
Because,
that's a great thing though. You have both leagues open to you every time you decide you want to play or you want to stream. For me, it's just always when I want to play. It's not a question whether I play on stream or off stream. I always play on stream because every moment I play could be the last moment I play on that character, and yeah, it's just sometimes I wish I had an option to play a little bit on softcore, but then I always I don't know, it just feels like too late to start there now.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, the trade market's still very alive in softcore.
Really?
So you can still get, oh yeah, like everyone's always trading like shit uniques for leveling and whatnot. And if you wanted to do a trade for hardcore currency, like one chaos for one chaos or something, and you wanted to get started, I would be down for that in a sense, like just so you could get
You said it was unethical earlier.
I know, but it's not like I'd really be using the currency. It would just be that whole thing. So
oh yeah, you'd just be helping me out, obviously.
Yeah, and that way you can actually experience it, because I feel like you'd be able to experiment with like maybe more squishy builds or characters that have rough transitional periods. It might be like a new spin for you, and then if your internet's acting up, hey, you can maybe chill out in softcore for a little while where it's not as dire to have the best internet connection in the world. So I think that would be good for you. Oh, there you go, man. The $100 donation.
That was from Marty though.
Oh, that was from Marty.
Yeah, that's not my alert.
Good, though.
Sadly, I don't have such a meme worthy alert.
Yeah.
Just trying to find some footage to play in the background.
Right. You can look at my past broadcast if you want to.
Oh yeah, we didn't feature any of yours yet.
That's a
good plan. Do you want to talk a little bit about that Spectre build and what you're gonna do in the close future with it? I mean,
oh yeah, sure. So basically, the idea behind it is I'm only going to run purity of elements and clarity for like low mana reservations. So I still have like the chunk of my mana for mind over matter. I'm not really casting anything aside from convocation, and so that means that I don't really need my mana to react in a lot of situations. If I do, I probably still have enough to shield charge out of something.
Okay.
And so the whole aspect behind that character is to use purity of elements to make the gearing on my character easier for resistances.
Okay, but also help out your minions at the same time.
Yes, and my minions. And it does that whole Commander of Darkness thing. So I too get attack speed and cast speed for both auras since I'm not using generosity. My minions have to share. And so I'm just using zombies as a meat shield. We're using solar guards. And I plan on putting as much MF on that character as possible without being like unrealistic. I'm
the usual waifu tactics.
Yeah, I always have to do MF. But the whole plan behind it is to do T3 burials like Marty style, like very low investment into the maps, and just see if I can farm up a headhunter in hardcore, just as my achievement. That's what I'm going for. But yeah, the leveling process on this character was super duper slow, but it was very steady. I never really felt threatened unless I was an idiot and shield charged into a pack that I shouldn't have. The shield charge takes about a year to wind up, so sometimes I would shield charge into a big white pack or a big
I know
magic
that
pack.
problem with builds that are not invested into attack speed or don't pick up
Right.
any attack speed on the way. Like, Shadow gets at least attack speed for coordination, right? And
Yeah,
attack speed
I
here
should
and
have
there.
picked up. I should have picked up thinking about it now. The attack speed, cast speed hybrid node, especially leveling SRS, like what a no-brainer. I should have picked that up. I think it's not
Harrier
precision,
next
I
to
don't
the Scion,
think.
you mean?
No, it's the one next to Templar near the life node and the AoE cluster.
Oh, okay.
Precision, like one of the accuracy nodes that pair up, but it gives you attack speed and cast speed. Then 20 dex for requirements, movement speed, like it gives you everything you want for shield
No,
charge.
accuracy is also not bad if you're looking to proc fortify.
You were right. Yep, that's true. Yep.
Because I have
So
that often on a caster that I charge into a pack and I don't proc fortify because my accuracy is like 60%.
and you're expecting the defensive layer and then you just get pooped on.
Exactly. Like,
Yep.
it's,
But yeah, the character itself should be really formidable. Like I think that I'll be able to pump out about 1,000 or 1,300 maybe mana. Once I get to like level 80 or 90, I should be able to push the mana up that high.
okay.
I think I'm gonna.
And it's pure mind over matter. Then.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Pure mind over matter. I'm not gonna do anything else with it. And I figure since I'm not utilizing my mana to cast anything really, that it's pretty safer than most characters that. Like maybe a spellcaster that uses mind over matter is less safe in in comparison to a point.
Mm-hmm.
You can always like min max your setup so that you'll always cast your shield charge on blood magic or something to get out.
I really like that concept. I wish I could do my animate weapon builds with a lot of mind over matter, but you need the dual elemental auras. So.
Right, yeah. And that's the thing, like like specters, so far they're doing insane damage. And I only have specters from blood aqueducts. They're level like 61. 61 specters, and they're just wiping the floor with everything. And I mean the floor, what's the floor? Like blood aqueducts where the monster spawned from. Not that impressive, but still nice. Still feels good. So I plan on just doing minimal investment because normally you'd reserve like anger from the builds that I looked up to try to base mine off of. You'd reserve anger and purity of whatever you want, basically purity of elements for your minions with generosity or something. But for me, I'm going to try to drop the anger so I can run T3 maps. I'm going to try to pay for a Minotaur carry. And then summon my specters inside there. So
nice.
Yeah, the double effectiveness there. That's what I plan on doing, and as long as I don't rip my minions, I'm good. So.
Well, they're gonna be really tanky also when they're from there. Nice. Yep. Good stuff. Is there what is the guaranteed what's the is there a guaranteed mob type that you're looking for in Minotaur? That's what I'm asking.
Oh no, I'm just gonna desecrate the corpses.
Yeah, of course you bring them in. Okay,
yep.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then I just corpse target after the dude carries me through Minnow. I just make sure it's super safe. If there aren't any stray mobs, and then I just mess around and summon 3 solar guards from there, and then I'm set. I think. If I don't know if something in T3 burials rips my mobs, I'm probably going with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's
yeah. I mean, when you're at the point, we can farm some burials up together, maybe. Because I got the permanent elder influence there, but
yeah. The ping might be too strong though.
Oh yeah, I forget that always.
Yeah. I had Valor Mage. Yeah. I had Valor Mage rush me through Merc Lab because I was too much of a puss to step up and try it myself. And he was lagging real hard. He was just like, well, my character's immortal. And he just didn't have RF on and he was just walking through.
Yeah.
And I had my specters clearing all the mobs, but like, dude, it took us at least 30 minutes to get through Merc Lab. Probably it wasn't that long, but it felt like a half hour.
Why did you, oh god. Or did he insist on giving you that rush, or like, I mean, you could have just gotten like a professional carry that would have been faster on your server.
I mean, I tried to do that. I had a party invite up for it for probably like a half hour. I was just chilling out in Blood Aqueducts while I had the public party that I created in, Sarn Act 3 or whatever. But just had no hits. Valor Mage randomly joined my party. I didn't send him a party invite. The only thing I had up was the public party. And he came out of one of his maps, and then he was just in my party for some reason. I don't know why.
Okay.
Like, he just mysteriously appeared in my party. I don't know why. And he was just like, it must be a sign. I guess I'll run you through Merc Lab BRB.
That's awesome.
It was fate.
Yeah.
So.
Legend Balor. Mm.
Yeah, I guess he ripped on his summoner, which is pretty sad recently, but I don't know, it just happens.
I saw that stream title. I saw that tweet where he like,
yeah,
no more summons. We got to do something new.
Yeah, but he has a couple characters he can farm on, so it's cool. I think that's what I want to do too, is get my backup ready.
Yeah, of
so
course.
I can jump right back in, like have a character in Act 2 or something ready to go, because that's something that Valor Mage brought it up to me. I was chilling out in a stream because I was depressed a little bit that my character had kicked the bucket. And he was just like, I think this is one of the biggest mistakes that most players trying to get back into hardcore make, is they'll play hardcore for a while and then they'll rip and they'll go and play softcore for a while, or they'll just put down the game for a while. And then when they come back, they're not motivated to jump on to play because they don't have a starting point. Like, they have to start in Act 1, and that's super depressing because you're starting from the bottom, like, completely. And if you have a character in Act 2, you are more motivated, or I think he said Act 3, but he was like, even if you can't get to Act 3, fuck that. Even if you only get to Act 2 town, you at least have somewhere to start with, and you're more apt to just jump on and play in hardcore. And I think that's a mentality that I'm going to take up as well. I think it's very healthy.
Well, for me, it's always... Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Finish first.
But I was thinking that if I even go one step further past that, and I have my character in Act 2 already before I rip, I can just jump right back on and get into it, like with the leveling gear and everything just ready to go. I don't have to
so you had that one before you died already?
Not this time.
Not this time. Okay, but that's the plan for future.
Yes.
Okay, I see.
Yes. For future hardcore endeavors.
Nice.
I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah. Man, I'm super ambitious about my build. I want to maybe 6-link my shafts and get a shitload of resists on other gears, and then dual Ming's Heart. It's gonna cost me so much.
Ming's Heart, yeah,
it's gonna cost me. That would be so good though, like low life Blade Vortex Chaos conversion with dual Ming's Heart. Like that would be so much
damage, dude.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I had a softcore character that utilized that for a while. When they first did the change to Mings, I did a build with that. It was Zerker Obliteration Wands, double Mings with Sin's Rebirth, and at Ziri's Promise, dude destroyed Shaper.
Yeah,
it was so good.
No,
the only time I died on Shaper was like to not being able to use a movement skill because wands, right? So,
well, Flame Dash.
Flame Dash, yeah.
Damn. Flame Dash is actually the best movement skill in the game. It's just the charge mechanic is limiting, and you can't get fortified. But you can't get fortified with the wand anyway. Like,
right.
It's not like
unless
there was
you're
another
a champion. Cool.
Well, you're not exactly getting it with the wand, and you already had it prior to the wand.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh god. Yeah.
But yeah, unless you cheese it in there, you can't really get it on that build. Or like you can't get it with Flame Dash, I guess. Like, yeah, I guess I see your point there. The semantics behind that all.
So I don't know the exact content of that post, but Cloffy in chat mentioned that we could go over the trap announcement that GGG published. I don't know. Have you gone over that as well?
I
At
haven't seen
all?
it. I woke up and pretty much took a shower and got ready for this after my
No,
power
that's
naps.
already like a couple of days ago. Like they want to
Oh,
remove the cooldowns on lightning trap and fire
oh,
trap.
that post. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that. I thought when I heard traps, I thought you meant like
the
Uber
trap
Lab
talk.
trap reworks or something
Oh
like
no, not the player skills actually, I
the
think.
player skills. No, I thought that was actually really interesting with the way that they were trying to rework fire trap to be a more end game skill and to remove the charges. I think was what they were doing right in the cooldowns and whatnot. So that way you could just
But you could
spam
just
the
keep tossing
one
them or
trap.
what?
Yeah,
I don't know.
and I think that's a good push in the right direction, honestly, because
I'm not
when you
sure. I'm
go to
not sure. I'm thinking
yeah,
about it.
like
I'll wait until I see it before I praise it.
yeah, yeah, like if it's true that you can use one trap and one trap only, I think that that's what you need to feel character identity almost. Like if you want your build to do one thing, like most builds in Path of Exile do, sometimes you have like a little bit of a hybrid, like you got Reeve Blade Flurry as a common combo. I think you use that in your Ascendant, for example. And you have combinations a little bit, but for the most part, you want to look at one skill that clears. And if you're running something like traps and you can't just use your fire trap forever and just cruise along through the game, if you feel like you have to wait on your skill, especially in the clear speed meta that's sort of manifested over the last several leagues, right?
Yeah.
I think that delay, like having to wait for your next fire trap to toss it, I don't know, it feels bad. But
Yeah, I used to play fire trappers back in the day, and it really was fine when you had proliv and when you
oh yeah,
cleared, like you threw one trap and you cleared like the whole screen plus a half screen on each edge of the screen.
the old blasting cat bear trap prolif build. That thing
That's
killed me. It was you would use bear trap and convert it out with like avatar of fire and stuff,
okay.
and you would
I didn't know
throw
that one. But
yeah
yeah,
you'd
that's sick.
throw yeah, you'd throw one bear trap and it would just clear the whole screen. Like it was insane. It was super funny. It'd go
Yeah,
like 3 screens away. It was super good.
that reminded me that blasting cap was actually a really good theory crafting part of the community
Yeah. Yeah.
before he disappeared from one day to the other.
Yeah. Yeah. Just on
Hmm.
another shore now.
On another shore. On
Yeah.
another shore. Not the
Not the map.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. No, but I'm definitely also hyped for traps to go into a direction where more and more people could play them again or see themselves playing them again. And especially, I mean, Lightning Trap is already a strong contender for races for Shadow. Like
Oh
it
yeah.
was meta for the longest time, and I think
Yep.
it still sort of is. And if
I mean,
Lightning
there's
Trap completely loses its cooldown, it's gonna be super strong. But they're
right.
gonna do other adjustments as well around it.
Because you look at builds right now in the meta, and Glacial Cascade actually uses Lightning Trap for a while until you switch over to Glacial Cascade Mines,
Really?
because it's that strong. Yeah, like that's
I
what
thought
people
you
use
I
normally.
thought people were using Fire Nova Mine all the time.
Yeah, you can do that as well, but like Lightning Trap was actually super comfy for me when I mean, it took
Well,
me,
you don't have
it's
to
been a
detonate
while.
traps. That's a great thing. You just throw them and
Right.
they trigger
Yeah.
on the enemies.
And if the clear speed, see, here's my take on the whole trap thing, right? If the clear speed for Glacial Cascade mines, where you have to throw a mine down and then detonate it, if that is not slow enough, like if that's not a deterrent enough to like turn people off from the build, and then yeah, it has a lot of bossing potential. But if we could get the damage on traps up to a point where it would clear packs fast, that
Yeah.
might actually be comfortable for certain people who want to get behind characters like that.
Well, it would still be, many builds we see nowadays, with especially in the context of Elder Shaper items providing additional support gems. Many builds you see building into a single target setup and a clear setup. Like my dual wield
Right.
character was using Reef as a clear skill and Blade Flurry as a single target. And I think that, I mean, well, that's a really, really common thing, because Reeve is just not that great single target, and Blade Flurry just has too small AoE to clear, but has insane damage. There's other skills where you have similar things, right? I mean, for Righteous Fire, you go into a single target mode with Scorching Ray.
Right.
Yep. And with Wanders or Tornado Shot builds, you use a single target barrage setup.
Right, and being able to fit that in with like increased crit strikes with attacks or whatever else you need, like it's super nice.
Yeah, I'm amazed actually that it got to that point. And also with the addition of Arcane Surge and of all these little support gems with utility, like with the Onslaught and I mean, Culling Strike was already pre-existing, but at some point we had that meta where everyone was just spamming one skill, and GGG explicitly stated they did like people to specialize a little bit more, and the whole community was like, haha, that's never gonna happen. And now, like, look at the meta, like everyone is using almost everyone is using a separate skill setup for single target.
Right.
They really got us to that point with that. Probably was that boss HP buff though. Because before that, like, you just didn't need it.
Oh my god. The boss HP is so rough sometimes.
Honestly, I feel it could be raised a little bit because you just trivialize bosses too hard at a certain point.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, and plus people who want to prioritize like map clear and to make their to specialize in that, they just skip the boss anyway, and that's fine too.
Is that still a thing? Skipping bosses?
Oh yeah, I skipped the boss on burial. I'm gonna skip the boss on burial chambers for sure. Fuck
really?
Detonate Dead.
But it's so easy. Like if you burst her down. I mean, I only got the reference with the dual wheel block, but it's like I just jumped in, I did my Lion's Roar, and I pushed that witch against the wall, and
just wall banged her real quick. She's done.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I did the same thing with like KB and Barrage and whatnot for Wander, and for Tornado Shot it was pretty easy. Like I am overcapped on gear for softcore, but I don't know. Like I feel like I can just get away with skipping the boss, and my map sustain on a T3 map is going to be fine regardless. What am I really gaining out of that? I can just go into the boss room, right? Yeah. Pop open my portal, because I just have a TP scroll, right? Just pop open the portal with the immunity for the 3 seconds that I have entering a new room. And then my specters are just going to shit on that pack in that room, and then I'm going to click on the portal, and then I'm out. WaifuGate out every time, and we're going to be safe. Okay. I'm not going to die to the boss for Detonate Dead on Beyond Monsters or something silly.
Well, you could also couldn't you just, I don't know whether that works. I don't know how specters work in that regard. Can you not just go out and go in again and stay in grace while your minions finish the boss?
I'm not sure. Like they did a patch to where like if you can't do damage, your minions can't do damage, I think, and I'm not sure if that's just with
I think that was. I think you have to be alive in order for your minions to do damage. Okay. I'm not sure. Okay. Like the thing is, I notice that every time I run a golem and I'm going into a map and I'm staying in grace, the golem is already aggroing the boss or the mobs around me, right? Because the golem doesn't have grace phase. But I do have grace.
Yeah, it's I thought you were still gonna talk. That's why I typed.
No, I was actually curious what you were gonna type, so I was looking at the chat. I was like, I think
how to take over the microphone. Just start typing.
Exactly. I think, but what was needed is the link for the logout macro.
Yep. Lotbot's OP. But yeah, the leveling process was actually pretty fun for SRS. Like I felt very comfortable.
Yeah, we just looked at your leveling here, and the little screen up there. We saw you doing Kitava and everything. SRS is still okay.
Oh yeah, like if you get the leveling helmet, the Mark of the Red Covenant, I believe it's called.
I think you got a lot of shit. Like it got torn apart by people. But yeah, I mean it's good as long as you can't reach the cap, right?
Yeah, exactly. And for leveling, What's better in hardcore to level than casting 1 or 2 SRSs than shield charging, being able to be mobile and still have a lot of damage out there? If you think about it in a safety aspect, it's actually very nice because you have the zombies as meat shields, right? So you can convocate those, and then you're only worrying about keeping up like 2 or 3 SRSs, and it's just super chill. The helmet only needs like 2 red, 2 blue, so it's generally easy to keep up. And you can get it going starting at level 26.
Oh, wow.
It's actually very low level. And the downside, I think, mostly in hardcore is that you lose your reses off of Goldworm, right? Not Goldworm, Gold Rim.
Gold
sorry.
Rim, yeah, but you don't
The
always
helmet.
have a Gold Rim, right? I mean,
Right,
those
right,
things
yep.
go for like 10 chaos or like 5 to 10 chaos. I don't know what they're going for right now because I don't ever buy one. Because
right.
I usually, when I buy leveling gear, I die with it. So
Oh, no,
I just
yeah.
level solo self-found and that works better.
Nice. I picked up the rapier, what's it called? The Aura something, the Aura Voxium or Aura
Aurum Vorax,
something.
yeah.
Aura Vorax, there we go. I had the V, I just didn't have the last syllable there. But I just picked up a 58 roll percent on that for 1
Yeah,
chaos.
60 max.
And it solved my res issue pretty much for leveling.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's pretty solid for summoners. You don't need other stats on weapons. I mean, I personally like to pick up some cast speed and attack speed for.
I liked Brightbeak a lot after I switched to Brightbeak once I was able to get Purity of Elements. But I really wanted that Mind Over Matter to level with. Like, you see that big chunk of just extra HP I have there, and it's so nice.
Yeah.
That's so good.
I can see that.
But yeah, I definitely recommend the mark for leveling. It's very good. It's very slow, but you just kind of chill out with your SRSs, and it's super nice.
I see the damage is okay right now as on Tokuhama.
Yeah, and it never changes either. It's that consistent throughout the whole process. As soon as you put that helmet on, it is the same clear for the rest of the game.
Okay.
All the way up into Blood Aqueducts. It's the exact same. It never slows down, but it never goes faster.
Maybe I'll try it next time around. But yeah, my obliteration leveling is also it's kick-ass. I mean, Blade Vortex is already a dream skill. Like, you don't need anything. Like a 4-link and you level up to 50s, no doubt. And then just when you get those obliteration ones at level 56, you get, what do you get in total? 40% chance for the enemies to explode, dealing a quarter of their life as chaos damage in an AoE around them. You get 30% physical as extra chaos, and you get that spell damage implicit from both those ones, which is around like 34 each, so it's like 68. That's also not too bad. And then just
so effective.
Chaos damage is so strong. And then the new Occultist, that's actually the big thing for me in my build, is like as soon as you pick up normal lab, you have permanent 4 power charges, which means you have permanent 20% ink AoE and 20% ink spell damage, because the new Occultist power charge node gives you power charge generation that works per mana spent. So you spend 200 mana, you get a power charge. No matter what you spent them for, or like how long it took you to spend 200 mana, after you spend 200 mana, you get a power charge, guaranteed. Which means you have them always up. Always. Like, except for the beginning of the map when you load in, but then you wind up your Blade Vortex and you want to stack them up, most likely if you can reach 20 to 20 anyway. And at that point,
synergy is insane.
Most of the time you have 4 power charges as well, and then you just run through and maintain your Blade Vortex stacks. And yeah, just AoE spell damage, it just feels like a really, really good leveling item, and it's just a solid investment for those first ascendancy points, and it makes it feels so good to level Blade Vortex as an Occultist that I might actually do that as a League starter in the future.
Nice.
And like the transition into CI maybe, and the obliteration. Obliteration is actually not expensive at the beginning of the league, right?
I was about to say, even at League start, I imagine in hardcore that they wouldn't go for more than a chaos or 2, really.
Yeah,
like
not
maybe
more
a
than
little
2.
more expensive,
if it's a good roll, the thing is the physical as extra chaos damage is a roll. It's like between 10 and 15, so you really want 15% there.
Yeah, but even if you pick up like, a budget pair for like 1 chaos or 1 elk, you can always replace it later and get your character rolling faster.
Yeah, and certainly within 1 day there it'll be super cheap.
Oh yeah.
They're worth nothing, those ones.
And like another point that I wanted to make on the occultist was like you didn't really gain the power charge engine because you had that before, but now you have even more synergy and it feels
Well,
good.
before
now
you
with,
had power
with
charge on
occultist.
crit, that was just not the
When
same,
your
like
crit
not the same
baseline.
consistency early on.
Oh,
And before
oh
you
early
didn't
on.
get,
Okay.
and
Okay,
before you
early on, I can
didn't,
see that.
you didn't
Okay.
get the bonus per power charge.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
It's definitely better now. I was just saying like you still kind of had it, but it wasn't as good.
yeah, you
It's
had power
definitely
charges and you
improved.
had their bonuses up, but you, as far as I remember, you only got +1 power charge and you got power charge on crit, like 10 or 20% in the old node. But in the new node, like I said, you get 5% ink AoE and 5% spell damage per power charge.
I like how they added that unique aspect to Juggernaut as well with increased AoE and
Yeah, make the pure
yeah.
classes have one class that actually utilizes the charges in an enhanced way, just like Raider gets those augmented frenzy charges.
Yeah, and that's where they started it with, and I'm glad that they're sort of giving the spectrum of to different classes. Like, you don't have it doubled up in Raider or as Ranger for like, multiple charge generations or whatever. It's spread out, right? So that's sort of nice. I enjoy that. Sort of gives that whole class identity type thing, like, oh yeah, this and this. It's kind of cool. But it's not so much to where like if you want to use power charges, you have to be an occultist. That's not the case.
No, not at all. But it's just I don't even have that in my endgame build. Like I'm not even utilizing that because I think Malediction is just so much stronger, and Val Bastion is just absolutely necessary because it's it just gives me that stun immunity that makes me get an amulet, or enables me to get an amulet that is not Eye of Chiula, where I can get up to 22% increased max energy shield and 40 flat and some int and some res and all the goodies.
I feel like Eye of Chiula got dumpstered on as soon as they introduced the Pantheon for stun, like so you don't get stun locked. At least for softcore, that's good enough so far.
Yeah, as a CI build, I'd like to think it was not sufficient. But then, yeah, I mean, if you have energy shield up, you already have a 50% flat chance to not be stunned. Anyway,
yeah.
It's like a multiplicative 50% chance to not be stunned if you get a stunning hit.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad that they took away the whole ambition to go for like the master crafting for stun avoidance and then getting stun avoidance on the tree too, and
with the essences and everything. Yeah, there was so many, like you can get the stun avoidance, but you can still do that. It's and you can do that. That enables you to play another class than the classes that now get stun immunity. Exactly. Although there is a lot of stun immunity handed out. That's true.
Yeah. It's sad that a lot of the items or a lot of the crafting that we used to see, such as like the Righteous Fire crafting for damage over time and Vegan daggers, man, cast on crit Vegan daggers, how that died out so quickly is beyond me. Like it used to be
just died with cast on crit.
Yeah, it's
like there is no viable cast on crit now except for Cospreys, because that's the only time where you can bypass that cooldown.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't make any sense. Why does Cospreys have a lower cooldown than the cast on crit gem itself?
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. I think Cospreys could still be good. I mean, what are you using Cospreys for? Auto Bomber pretty much now. So even if you went Auto Bomber with a nerfed Cospreys, it's still going to give you enough of an engine to start your stuff up. You know what I mean?
I thought like freeze pulsing with Cospreys or discharging was still sort of viable.
Oh yeah, that's true. There is that discharge build. People are doing a lot of the Red Trail Golden Rule discharger still right now.
Oh, okay.
It's popular in softcore, at least for clear speed. People wanting to do like a budget auto bomber, even though I think that's almost more expensive to get going because of the gems.
Yeah, and the accuracy.
The discharge, yeah, and the accuracy. Yeah, it's rough. I have to use the restroom really quick. I'll be back in like 45 seconds if you want to talk about.
Oh yeah, of course.
If you want to start on big returns or something, if you want to move on with
start on big returns. Yeah, I'm the master for big returns, and that's perfect timing because I only have 45 seconds worth of things to say about big returns. So that's the section where I actually just say that I'm planning to do shaped excavation as soon as I get my sextants sorted out, and as soon as I farmed a shitload of burial chambers with permanent elder influence, and then I'm just gonna try to squeeze out returns out of excavation by layering sextants on top of that, which is gonna be interesting because sextant blocking is not really a thing anymore now that they limited the amount of active sextants that you can have to a maximum of 5, I think. It's not the same anymore. Yeah. All alone without WaifuGate here. That's
Let's get my headphones back in so I can hear.
Yeah, I was just talking about how the limit of active sextants has been reduced to 5 at a maximum if you unlock all the sextants via the Zana quest line.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that pretty much took sextant blocking out of the game, except for the maps where you can only have 1 or 2 white sextants on a higher map, and you could maybe try and block out bad sextant mods from the side. But is there any particular spots for sextanting that you see, or are you just following the same strategy as last league, where you said just sell your sextants to the people that actually value them?
It's pull or push with that. I don't know, like it depends on what map I'm farming and how strong I'm feeling. With the elder influence, like the elder ring, and this is sort of bringing us back to that, but that helps you stabilize maps more than anything, I think. More than chiseling, more than really using sextants. Having the elder influence is insane.
Which is also another point. Like maybe we should quickly go over that, because people were complaining about map returns like prior to the Elder Ring becoming the predominant meta. Like people were actually saying, like, people were quitting the league because they weren't getting enough map returns. I think.
Yeah.
And I think I have more than enough map returns. I only have 80%, Atlas completion bonus, and I feel I have more than enough maps. Like every single map I run, I get at least 1+1.
Even in red maps, you're
Well,
sustaining.
no, I'm not running red maps, obviously, but like people were already complaining about sustain in yellow maps, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, in yellow maps, I don't know.
But I think that was prior to that Atlas, like the Elder Ring becoming so popular and being set up by everyone. Because with the Elder Ring, you have just so much return, because those Elder portals can drop maps.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. I think they should pull it back a little bit. Like, honestly, I mean, I know this is sort of a point we've already gone over, but I think if they could just come to a balance and not remove it completely, it gives you something interesting to do with the Atlas if you're not chasing after bosses. You know what I mean? And it still rewards you for doing multiple maps, because you can get like, X drop over here. It expands what we had before with the sextant block strategy, and you would run one map, because now you can run several maps and not bone yourself.
No, that's
actually very good.
That's one point where 100% you said something that I feel for a long time. That's one of the factors that makes me say this is such a refreshing meta for me, because before you were optimizing for one map, and now we can optimize for a whole set of maps, which is exactly what GGG wants. They don't want us to just brain AFK one map layout over and over again. They want us to run a healthy variety of maps, which is also why the Shaper and Elder War for the Atlas, this moving around, is so great, because it gives you a reason to run different maps. You're always, after each map completion, when you're trying to move Elder Influence around, you're checking your Atlas. You're like, which map do I run next? Where do I have to look out? It's just, like I said, it refreshed the endgame so much for me.
Right. And with the amount of options that you have for running, like let's say you want to do Burial Chambers and Underground Sea, you have to have a specific Elder spawn for that. You want to run Jungle Valley and Haunted Mansion and something else, you have to have a specific Elder spawn for that. And you have to figure out how to wrap it around and whatnot. And yeah, there are tools for that now. But the fact that you have to chase after Elder and clear them off your map and try it again, like it gives people like sort of a goal, and I think that's a good thing for the game. just that there are so many options within that like realm, basically. So
Yeah, and people who don't want to partake, they can still flip-flop and, play a little bit a different game with not building a ring and just building, a stable flip-flop situation or semi-stable situation somewhere where they can get alternating Shaper and Elder influence.
So
Catmaster's mic clicks from time to time. Oh my god.
no, it's on me, Catmaster. It's on me. It's my
Is it?
fault. Yeah, it's because I had a roommate playing Dota, and there's also another guy clicking on his computer, just going through tabs and stuff.
No, I actually thought that my mic had some clicking issues, but anyway.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
I'll check the VOD. I'll
Maybe
see it
that's possible.
eventually. We'll see.
Okay. Gotcha.
Might be software
Yeah.
sided.
Yeah, Elder Rings, big returns, sextants. I still think that sextants are worth using if you have them. I haven't sold any of my sextants this season. If that
No, I
tells you
just
guys
keep them
anything.
for my
I think
own
they're really good.
use.
Yeah, they're so nice. You get that juiced up map, and you're like more pulp, and you just throw sextants onto it, and you get some good stuff. But yeah, I've been there's a motorcycle, but if
That's a loud motorcycle.
yeah, it is. That's crazy. I think it's gonna go for at least like 2 minutes too. It's great. They wait for it to heat up, even though it's my roommate's just closing the window to reduce the noise for a minute. Thank you, AJ.
Awesome.
But yeah, as far as sextants go, I think the most I'll ever get is 3 in any given atlas, because the requirements are pretty rough for those, especially in hardcore. I'm not going to push to Uber Elder, you know what I mean? It's just not in
Well, you can buy that though.
Not this season. Yeah. But I mean, I have to push my atlas into red maps to get Elder spawned on my stuff, right? Or can I go into someone else's to get the sextant bonus? I thought that was
That's a
something
good
that
question.
I had to do on my own atlas.
No, you probably have to do it on your own atlas, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that it'll be a goal for next league if I can push Spectres up there and put non-MF gear on and try to clear maps.
Do you plan to play more hardcore in the future now? Or
yes, I might actually start in hardcore next season. I don't know yet because I'm still in my infancy as far as hardcore experience goes. But especially after I lost my last character, that's a tongue twister. Lost my last character. I felt the attachment to that character so strongly, so much more than any of my softcore characters that I've ever had. And I've min-maxed Wind Ripper to the most, right? Like +1 Quiver, +1 Ripper, +1 Queen of the Forest, +1 Curse Biscos. Like I pushed it to the moon, and I never felt that attached to a character before in my entire life. When that character died and I saw that screen, I thought about all the times where I was leveling it, tough spots, situations where I got out of, just places where I should have ripped, and I was like, I still got my character. And when it ripped, I felt pretty sad, but at the same time, I enjoyed the time that I spent on the character. And believe it or not, that was a unique experience for me. Like in softcore, I'm more attached to my farm and min-maxing the farm and whatnot. And with hardcore, I was able to step into a different realm in terms of character investment. Like I actually loved my character. Like I actually got into it and it was fun. And I'm slightly addicted to that now. The leveling process from this character sort of confirmed it, that I'm getting attached a little bit here and there. Like when I see my character's HP spike, I'm like, and I, I care about the game a lot more in a different sense. So I think that
it shifts priorities around, and like from a gameplay perspective, it's really refreshing. I remember playing Breach and Legacy League both in softcore because I did have a full-time job at the time and I wanted to play with friends in softcore rather than being alone in hardcore and not getting things done because I die and then I'd take like 4 or 5 days to relevel to maps because I could only play like 2 hours per day. But throughout that whole time, I was thoroughly looking forward to returning to hardcore eventually.
Right.
Because I didn't have the same amount of investment into the character. And I
Yeah,
wasn't forced to level another character, so I didn't. I just, when I play a softcore league, I start out with one character and I pushed it as hard as possible into endgame. And then I don't do a new one. I don't know. I'm just because
and I mean that is one approach that you can take, and it's kind of fun in an aspect, like in a way. But hardcore definitely makes you take a different approach. And what I want to do is I probably want to do something like where I do one league softcore, one league hardcore, or I have both, like I was talking about before, where I have a hardcore character and a softcore, so I can play softcore when the internet's kind of bad and I still want to play path, or I just want to be a little more relaxed, like I want to play when I'm tired or something. That'd be more of an option. But I want to be like a hybrid Path of Exile player where I do both, and I perform well in both leagues, basically. And I'm looking forward to Catmaster to maybe pushing the ladder next league for hardcore. I might try to go for it.
It's super fun. Like I think in the first week, there's rarely anything that you can do that is as fun as pushing hardcore ladder. Because it's not only you yourself you can rip all the time, but it's like people in front of you rip. You're like, oh, that guy that's been pushing past me, he's been pushing too hard and he died, and now I'm gonna go, and catch up again.
Now's my chance.
Exactly. It's like
my snail speed can still do this, and it doesn't look as like anyone can rip at any time. I can rip at any time, and that's what makes it exciting, sort of, too. The adrenaline rushes, Catmaster. Oh my god, the adrenaline rushes. Those are nice.
Well,
like
I wish
can't get that anywhere else in life.
I wish I got rid of that blue screen of death problem. So that's a source of adrenaline rushes that I don't necessarily need to have in my life.
Yeah, a lot of people are prone to stress, and that's bad for them. But for me, I kind of live on that stuff sometimes. A little bit. I used to get it when I played like poker in college for money and stuff, and like you get the little bit of adrenaline rush for looking for that top deck. When I used to play Magic the Gathering, stuff like that, and I just haven't had it in my life in such a long time, and hardcore sort of gives me that. You have those close moments, and that's sort of nice too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think in terms of like big returns, like getting the most back out of your maps and whatnot, it boils down to you picking out a set of maps, or one map, even if you want to do that, and shaping your atlas for it, or just a strategy, something that you enjoy getting into.
I listen to that. You give that advice on stream a lot, where don't do mapping as if it was like a chore or work. Like, try to find the maps that you enjoy actually farming, where you don't count after every map. It's like, how many did I do now? When do I get my return? Where you actually, can forget that you're farming for something for an hour or two, and then only remember, oh, I was actually trying to get this or that.
Yeah, like I blew past my last stream. I ended up like doing like a 12-hour stream without even realizing the time until it was 10 hours in, because I actually wanted to break the stream early so I could get some rest and plan for like this podcast and whatnot. But I ended up just staying up and playing and enjoying hardcore and just chilling out in Blood Aqueducts, because it was just a thing I wanted to do, and it was.
Oh, I have that a lot. I have that a lot, or especially before I started doing more of the streaming thing. Like, when I was just a player, like, oftentimes I would die in the last 2 hours, where I was like, oh, I was gonna go to bed like at like 2, and then you die and you re-roll the character because you don't want to start the next day in Act 1, and then you just end up staying up all night because you're like, hey, I want to get this leveled, and you're so into it. And in the beginning, for me, it's always the first 3 acts after ripping are a little bit frustrating, but then as soon as I'm in Act 3 and the build slowly starts coming together, I'm always super excited about it. I get this, I don't know, like, even if I just ripped, I get this resurge of motivation.
Someone's saying that it's static again for your mic, I think.
Static again? It's actually software sided. I don't know what the problem is.
I mean, like you're still coming in kind of clear. I guess it's just noticeable, especially if someone points it out, but
Hmm.
probably not anything to super stress over.
No, I'll just have to check the VOD. Like it's not supposed to have any problems. But
Yeah.
like I said, I'm also currently in this troubleshooting process of sorting out why my computer is having blue screens, and in that process, I'm also going to reinstall the computer. I just didn't want to compromise my
Yeah, the
system's
timing for the
capability
podcast.
for the podcast, even though I'm in constant fear that we're going to have a blue screen right now,
Oh
and that
no,
the VOD
don't say
disappears,
that,
and we have to
man.
set up everything again, because that actually takes me like 10 minutes to legit get everything set up so we can have this podcast.
Yeah. But
But
I mean, that would just take some video editing. Like you just take the recording that you had prior to the blue screen
no,
and
of course you'd be able
then
to
oh
to
yeah.
put it together, but the problem is just for the
Yeah.
live podcast, and then
Yeah,
the mood
definitely.
disappearing is like, where were we, like the whole connection being disjointed and
Right.
torn
Yeah,
apart.
for sure.
But yeah, at the same time, I also didn't want to change my more or less running system just before the podcast. But now I got 2 weeks time after this podcast where I can sort out my computer problem and
Yeah. I wonder if
reinstall
it's because
Windows.
we're on Discord, maybe. Maybe you should mute yourself on Discord. Oh no, that would mess up a lot of stuff. Never mind, because
If
then
I
I would
mute
have a
myself on
delay.
Discord, you couldn't
Yeah.
hear me.
Yeah, I can't hear you. Yeah. Yep. No, that's true.
No,
That's very
but
true.
it's also not here.
But yeah, I think like going back to like big returns and stuff, like I really do. I'm a firm believer that like if you find a way to make the farm that you want happen, then like you're pretty much golden, because then you'll just make currency. And the biggest thing is to not compare yourself to flippers, to people who have just struck it big already, people who got lucky. Because at some point to get that big, you need to get lucky yourself. And if you're concerned about comparing yourself to one of those big crafters, one of those other guys, you're just gonna feel that feeling creeping up on you, like, oh, I'm not doing the best thing, and like you'll start doing that and looking at options just to make money to catch up to them, instead of doing the thing that you love in the game. Because like, what else are you really gonna do in the game aside from stuff that you enjoy doing? Why are you playing the game at that point if you're just gonna do the best thing, like, and not have fun with it? Like, I think that's just a trap.
No,
A lot of
totally.
people fall into it.
It's really
I have to make sure I'm not falling into that trap myself on a day-to-day basis when I look at like, what I want to do or what I'm currently going for, like why I'm upset. Like if I'm in
no, and
bed, I'm
also
just like,
looking
why
at
am
all
I even
those
thinking about this shit? It doesn't matter.
all those highlight reels and everything.
Oh
Like
wait, I think you
everyone.
muted yourself, Catmaster, or I muted something. I
Oh,
can't hear
okay.
you.
That's why you can't hear me. He can't hear me. User
Yeah, I don't know what
settings.
happened.
Now you should be able to hear me. Now you have a shitty mic though from
Oh
often,
yeah, that's super
but the
shitty.
stream still got the good mic. I
Yeah.
did restart my sound driver because according to my experience, that helps with static interference that people were saying was happening. But yeah, no, I wanted to say I'm totally agreeing with you. Just find a way to have fun, and I think there's three things that contribute to map returns in this league. Is like, once is that shaper / elder influence. Like before you enter that part of mapping of the end game, before you even have your first shaper elder influenced maps, returns are going to suck. You're not going to get good map returns. But as soon as you unlock like upwards of 50, 60 maps on the Atlas, and you got your first Shaper orbs, you're doing your tier 6, 7, 8, 9 elders, elder influenced maps, and you're getting influenced maps, and at the same time you're using, if you were going to use like I don't know, you're going to chain farm some underground sea maps, why not throw white sextants on it? Like there's, I think, one white map next to underground sea where you could
Yes.
get that influence, and white sextants cost you like nothing, and usually at that point you already have like 20 or something like that just from drops. And if you didn't use them up to then, make sure to
Right.
use them and like make things come together. So a little bit of completion, a little bit of shaper elder influence, and a little bit of a sextant mod, and it's already day and night difference. Like I was really disappointed with the returns in the beginning of my mapping career, simply because I was so behind in this league because of my fail start and then, you know, frustration and not doing serious stuff. But now that I got that Elder Ring set up and everything, I feel, even though I have really low completion and I didn't utilize sextants because I only have max one sextant right now because I didn't do anything of that
Right.
quest line yet, but I feel like I'm getting good returns in maps. Really, really good stuff.
Yeah, and like the thing is too, when you're in that fundamental state where you're like pushing into maybe T2 maps, maybe T3, never be afraid to run that T1 map that you like the most, such as Beach or Graveyard, I think are the two most popular ones for layouts.
Yeah.
Just go back there and grind and just chill and get currency, get sextants to use on your other maps to push for, you know, more higher tier maps and stuff, and just chill.
Yeah, you can clear them so fast also.
Yep. Exactly.
And so safely, especially in that hardcore aspect.
Oh yeah. Yep. And if you're pushing too, like dying sets you back more than running like higher tier maps, you know what I mean? Like if you play it safe too, if you're pushing. So there's always a you know, a benefit thing that you can like work out of, you know, validating your T1 map runs. Like you can always feel good about it somehow. You just gotta,
no, and also like in Harbor Bridge, or not Harbor Bridge, or Harbor Bridge as well, but in Blood Aqueducts is what I wanted to say. You know, you get that currency drop penalty, but then in lower maps, your drops will never be penalized. Like as soon as you enter mapping, there is no reduced quantity of currency drops.
Yep. And there is a cutoff for the quantity too for level. Like your character is never treated for more than like level 67 or 68, I think. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why you're not affected at all in tier 1, tier 2 maps. Even if you're level 100,
yeah, exactly,
you still get the same drops as if you were level 68. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
Even though the experience looks crappy, but you still can get your exalts, you can still get your big boy drops like a Tukohama's Fortress or something.
Yeah, Bisco's, whatever, you know.
So just crunch the numbers.
Yeah, and plus you always have the chance, especially in hardcore at least, maybe not so much in softcore, because a lot of the uniques that hold value in hardcore fall off relatively quick in softcore. But something like you drop Bones of Old Year and you get a decent roll on them, they're worth a lot in hardcore, man. They're crazy.
Bones of Old Year are worth a lot?
I think so, yeah. If you get a 15% move speed, I'll look it up real quick.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Bones of Old Year, right? Movement speed. Let me check this. Movement speed. 15%, right? In hardcore right now. You're going for 6 chaos, I guess. I guess it's not that expensive. I thought it was going to be about 15, like a 1-5.
That's still okay. It's uncorrupted, right?
Yeah, uncorrupted. Yep.
Okay, no, because yes, people also like to corrupt them for the additional move speed that you can get and stuff.
Yep. And like Thief's Torment, softcore, right? Maybe 14, 13C for Thief's Torment. In hardcore, try 30 for an okay roll. Try 30 chaos. That's almost an Exalt Catmaster in hardcore.
Yeah,
if
that's
you
true.
Drop Thief's Torment.
Yeah.
Like that's insane.
Yeah.
And it's just like I go to pick stuff up off the ground and I almost leave it sometimes and I'm like, wait, that might be worth something in hardcore, and I pick it up and I like, you know,
every unique is picking up for Alk Sustain, and you can also unique rings. Even if Thief's Torment wasn't worth anything, everyone's saving unique rings for that lore weave, right? Even though that fell massively in price, it's still, I think, sort of worth it. Because
I mean,
as opposed to vendoring the rings, that's what I mean.
Right. Yeah, you get more in chaos value if you hold the rings for a little while. That's sort of like a CD or whatever. I'm not sure if you have those over there. Like, you know, you can wait to cash them in and you get more.
CD?
Yeah, CD. It's a thing in the United States or in America where like you invest into a bank and you put something into a CD. I forget what they stand for. But you have to wait a certain amount of years before you can cash in. And then if you wait, the longer you wait, the more money you get back from it. Like it's basically an investment.
Oh, okay.
So it's sort of the same thing with the rings as far as lore weave is concerned. You keep waiting and waiting and waiting, and eventually you get a little bit more. You gain interest. Certificate of deposit. See Krabby Drew knows. Smart guy. He's got this.
Yeah. Nice. Thanks, Krabby, for helping out there. Yeah, is there anything that you still want to address? I mean, we're running towards that magical 2 hour mark with the speed of a high speed
I don't
train. Speed
I
of a
don't
high
think
speed
so.
train.
Like we can take questions from the chat if you
Yeah,
want to do that
I
for a
was gonna
second, and
suggest
that's it.
that, and maybe we can also say something nice about Bestiary League now that we've got the full, scope of the improvements
I
and
run away from every single red beast I see, Catmaster. I don't even try to fight it. I just run, I shield charge by him.
yeah, I think for hardcore they're really interesting. Like that's what I meant earlier. Is like if people like the Abyss League, I don't see why they don't like this league because it's really in your face. Like Abyss was in your face when you opened them, but you could just walk past them. You didn't walk past them because they offered you returns, right? And you
Yeah.
kind of wanted those Abyss jewels and the chance to get depths and belts and stuff. But man, those beasts, especially when they're in tight corridors and you have to dash through them or leap past them, and
Yeah.
some of them are really fast and you can't shake them off. Especially like with shitty leveling gear, you don't have 30% MS boots yet.
Right.
Is-
You got like 20% maybe from Wanderlust, if you're lucky.
Dude, oh man, the beasts are scary and they're in your face. And I mean, I even died on my level 90 what character to monster level 74 beasts in the menagerie. So yeah, those
Yeah, that was rough, man.
I really
Like I
like that
pretty
things are
much,
deadly though.
yeah, there are certain mob types for the reds. I think right now it's just because I don't have the damage. I'm on a 4 link and my helmet set up for +2 minion gems. +2 minion gems is almost a helm link, like an extra link, but not quite. And I think if I had like a 5 link or a 6 link for the beasts, I would do a lot better. Which skill would you guys like to see revamped the most, and how?
Yeah,
Ground
exactly.
slam. Ground
Yeah, hey,
slam.
that's a good point. Ground slam and how in a way that you can actually use it without dropping your FPS sub 10.
Yeah. And stop introducing new skills that mimic the old skills, such as tectonic strike, before you revamp ground slam. All right, let's do that. I
Well, I
don't mind
think
new
Tectonic
skills, but
Slam is actually it's actually a skill of its own. It doesn't really
I
have that
know.
much together with Ground Slam, and I think it has a
If you
good
look
place
at
in the
the
game.
Yeah, if you look at the AoE coverage that you get though off
It's
of
very similar, yeah, but the one is
yeah,
a conversion skill and expands endurance charges, and Ground Slam has threshold jewels which increase the angle, right? I mean,
yeah.
arguably Ground Slam is still trash. I mean, Dawdle played it, and he gave me an extensive review of how shitty it was, and he also gave me a live demonstration by going into my party and dropping my FPS to sub 10 of how shitty it performs with multi-strike.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Ground
totally
Slam is a
imagine.
good point.
Yeah. Yeah, just like I'd like to see ground slam reworked. And I know that there's the whole spin on things where for us to know what a good skill feels like, we have to experience what a bad skill feels like and to see the progression there. And while that has some merit, I don't know. I don't know how much I believe in it.
Well, I do agree there has to be some sort of skill progression, but I don't think that skills have to feel like utter trash.
Yeah.
Like
Like I
elemental
would
hit is still
yeah.
just needs too many supports in order to be good in any way,
Yeah, an
shape, or
elemental
form.
hit. The only reason elemental hit was cool, right? Like last league, I had a dude come into my chat talking about poet pens because I made that glacial cascade blade fall poet's pen guy, and he came in and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm playing poet's pen too. I'm using elementalist," and what he was doing was he was using elemental hit, right? Because you got pen for each type of skill that you used within the last few seconds recently.
And elemental hit is
So
fire, lightning,
yeah,
cold at the same time.
and he was using that as his proc for elemental, for like just his poet's pens as his attack skill, and I
But
was like,
how is that better than I don't know than getting frenzy charges with
I
frenzy?
know, and
I mean, it's
it's
an
like, yeah,
original idea. I don't want to take that
yeah,
away. I like that interaction, but it's just
yeah,
uh,
dude, these in the video, this thing right here, this area is so rippy and hardcore. It's so scary,
depends on
man.
where you're at in your progression. I mean,
Yeah,
You have like
Yeah.
2000 life with MOM. You
Yeah.
don't have
Like,
mitigation though, right? You only have that granite flask.
yeah, I just have granite pretty much. Yeah. But yeah, like I don't know, like I feel like Ground Slam could use some reworking. Elemental Hit definitely. I don't know, maybe some of the other like spells like Ice Spear or something, but they are talking about reworking that type of stuff. They made a post about that a while ago, about revamping and making different combos. And I'm not sure if I buy into the combos so much, but maybe if they're really cool.
There was
Maybe it won't be for me, but
a question that we missed. And while Vortex is actually, I still want to add that Vortex is also a good candidate for rework because that skill just got shit on by double dipping changes and then AoE nerfs. Vortex used to be quite a nice skill and also with a unique place in the game in the way it worked. And now it's just so sad to look at. And
yeah,
with just
sure.
a little bit of I always feel like I'm quoting Target. Just give those skills a little bit of area, little bit of radius. Earthquake is a skill that is really cool, but it's just got a little bit.
Yeah, if you just give a lot of those AoE skills just a little bit of perk.
I do think they
you'd
did
be
a
able to
great
take
job though with the plus radius on the gem levels, like for the Blade Vortex, and I mean Righteous Fire arguably is a little bit too big if you invest into it.
Yeah, it can be. If you're Juggernaut and you're super thick, your Righteous Fire gets super thick. But yeah, like I think just with slight changes to the AoE, you'd be able to take a lot of the skill gems out of the dumpster. You know what I mean? Like you'd be able to do it.
Yeah.
Some of them are still buried in there, but
I do think that AoE scaling needs to be worked on in general. Like, I don't think it should go back to the point where it was absolutely mandatory to scale AoE, but it hurts me to see that most AoE builds don't even scale AoE anymore. Like maybe get one cluster, but never two.
yeah,
It just doesn't feel worth it. I mean, it opens up build possibilities, but it should still feel rewarding if you get both, and it doesn't at all.
No, you barely notice it really. And I mean, sometimes you get a little bit of damage for it, but I mean, you're specking 3 points for 20% damage sometimes. Like the damage isn't really worth it either. As far as those nodes are concerned, for point to point, it's sort of ineffective. So.
And then Bamsi actually asked whether if he shapes certain maps, would he mess up his way to set, or would he mess up ways to set up an Elder Ring? And I don't think that it matters whether a map is tier 5 or tier 10 for an Elder Ring at all. Like it only matters because you'll have to run it in order to include it into the Elder Ring.
It might affect where your Elder spawns because he's more inclined to spawn in higher tier maps.
On higher?
Yeah, higher, yep.
Well, then I got super lucky with my spawn. I thought he was more inclined to spawn in low maps.
Nope. So, is the sound skipping from time to time? It might be Catmaster.
Might be my computer. We're gonna have to have a new installation of Windows.
Yeah.
You guys think this Elder Ring thingy was intended by GGG? We don't have an official statement yet. I don't think that was actually intended. Maybe they knew that was gonna provide that option, but I don't think they were like, let's put that as a feature into the game and have players play with that.
A tutorial on how to create your own Elder Ring by GGG. It's not gonna happen. So.
Yeah, seeing that there's weird things happening with the sound and we're running close to the 2-hour mark, I think we're gonna close it out here. It was a very great discussion. Do you wanna? Okay, now my chat disconnected.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's weird.
The stream didn't stutter or anything, like it was still smooth.
No, I see that zero frames drop, but it's just really weird that all of a sudden.
So do we get to do a post-it note on who we're gonna host up? Or did you want to stop the recording, or what did you want to do?
Ooh, that's a good point. You know, actually tell us real quickly if people are not familiar with your stream, where can they find you? What can they usually find you doing, and when?
Oh yeah, you can just check me out at WaifuGate on Twitch. It's the same as my, like, if you just it looks a little bit like this.
It's in the caption under our cameras.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
have
or in chat, that next to that sword sign right there. That's how
exactly.
you spell it. And if you type in WaifuGate as far as YouTube goes, it'll pop up.
What can we find on your YouTube then?
On my YouTube, I've got a bunch of build guides on there. Not a bunch, probably like, I'd say like 4 good ones, 3 good ones. The Wind Ripper one's a little outdated, but a lot of the stuff's still pretty relevant, I think. I just need to do an update on that. And I do different videos, like I did one on how to avoid scams. I'll probably update that one on how to waste the scammer's time, which is just way better. And then I'm going to be doing a guide pretty soon on like rolling maps and stuff, how to master roll maps effectively. So you can roll up like, 100 maps in like 3 or 4 minutes tops, with really good quantity if you care about scour alching that, and just simple ways to do that. Mostly just how-to guides on YouTube. There are a few like funny clips like of me in hardcore and using the logout macro and my eyes popping out of my head, but aside from that, it's pretty much just content creation with build guides and whatnot.
Awesome.
I have a Twitter too at WaifuGate, but I have like 5 followers right now. It's a slow process.
Well, that means people go and follow Waifu's Twitter, follow my Twitter, because then we're more inclined to share in posts actual information about in-game, and that's one thing that just pops into my mind. Zeno actually promoted that in a video. That's one thing we have to talk about. Do you know that, WaifuGate? There is a recipe in the game where if you trade any amulet at all with a red, a green, and a blue gem, you'll get a onyx amulet of the same item level. Now, if you do that with an onyx amulet, it stays an onyx amulet. And if you do it with a shaper influenced amulet, it stays a shaper base onyx amulet. Meaning that essentially you can scour it for 3 wisdom scrolls, which is what those 3 gems are worth.
Right.
And then there's another thing that My Survive actually posted on Twitter. I saw that the other day. It is far more broken than we all thought it would be, because it actually clears off the corruption. Right now, you can craft onyx amulets on shaper basis or on elder basis. You can corrupt them, and then if your corrupt fails to get a desirable corrupt, you can then get the base back by trading it to the vendor with RGB gems, and you get the same item level, a clear base. Yeah, they're totally gonna patch that. But that's insane. I wonder how much the price on onyx amulet already went up. But that's definitely something to look out for.
My shaper amulet right now is an onyx based. I'm not going to craft on it.
You're not going to corrupt it?
Too good. No, it's so good. It's the like
quant. Yeah, I've seen it.
10 quant. It's insane. Yeah. There's no way I'm going to craft over that, but it's kind of neat that my amulet's onyx. But yeah, I think I'm pretty good as far as topics go and whatnot.
I'm too curious to check out the VOD with the audio pops. What the fuck, always. Yeah, maybe the free scour was intended, and then you saw the corrupted scour. I was like, no, that can't be. No.
They'll probably patch it both out at the same time, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, as for my Twitch, you can also see that under my camera. My name is Catmaster. We're currently streaming full-time Path of Exile, both of us in different time slots, I think, a little bit, seeing that WaifuGate is streaming from California, I'm streaming from Germany, and streaming pretty much daily, taking 1 day off spontaneously each week. But usually you can find me on twitch.tv/CatmasterOP in the afternoon hours of Central European time, meaning anywhere
where you guys are right now, right here.
Yeah, right. You guys are already now. No, maybe you're watching from the YouTubes, right? Maybe.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway, thank you guys all so much for tuning in, and we're gonna end the YouTube video right here, and we're going to be back within 2 weeks time. I'm gonna update the timer right now and put it into my faded command on my channel. I'm gonna send it to WaifuGate. I'm going to make the new cheat sheet where we plan out the topics that we're gonna talk about in our Faded Connections episode 3, which you can expect in 2 weeks, with a special guest called Bobby Gugus from Bobby G Gaming on YouTube. Which we're both looking forward to, because Bobby is a really funny guy. And it's probably going to make for a very, very awesome conversation. And I hope to have the technical problems sorted out until then. And maybe we'll have a nice little video frame in the middle, and maybe a topic list somewhere. Maybe we could also squeeze the chat onto the layout. There is some work I need to do on that. And anyway, look forward to the next Faded Connections in 2 weeks. That's it for now, and I'm stopping the recording. And
yeah, we had a late host, which is kind of sad. Atomic Space Walrus. I'll give him a shout out here.
Yeah, out. True. You're the mod, right? So guys,
I forgot to shout out. Shout out. What was it, Wolfio?
Oh yeah, Wolfio also hosted while we were.
I don't know what his name, how to spell it though.
WWOLFIO.
LF.
Like Wolfio, but then like wool.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll let you shout him out if you want to. It's a little late. I don't feel confident spelling his name. I want to see if I got it out. Oh, like wool.
Yeah, like steel wool. I'm actually torn in between streaming now and stopping the stream. I'm probably going to stop the stream for a little bit to just
fix the audio issues.
Fix the audio and to fix my voice, because 2 hours of podcast, even though I didn't feel I talked that much, but I always have that feeling.
No, we both talked quite a bit.
Some tea.
That was good.
But yeah, so I'm going to throw the people over to someone.
Let's see, who do I have on my list? I've got I don't really have any small streamers really that are going right now.
We're going to check.
Very good.
Ivy Teapot is awesome.
Yeah, so she's streaming.
My Survivor is saying he came to join the channel earlier, and it said it was still hosting Wolfio. Yeah, I was hosting Wolfio until the stream started, but generally when you go online nowadays with your streaming program, it automatically unhosts you. Like Twitch realizes, oh, you're going live, you're broadcasting, and you got automatically to unhost. Yeah, guys, we're gonna throw you over to Ivy Teapot actually. Yeah, she's doing some awesome softcore streaming, and yeah, that's it for now. Thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you later if I do a little bit of a late night leveling stream. Other than that, we'll see each other tomorrow, 12 CET, for my regular Path of Exile stream.
And I'll catch you guys later. I'll be streaming later on today as well. I might.
You're doing a stream soon?
Sure, so.
In a couple of hours?
Probably. Yeah, I might. Last time, like yesterday, I did really well with like I started around 6 p.m. and then I went till like 6 a.m. almost, or 4 a.m. I think it was 4 a.m. or so, and then I got to rest. But I'll probably end up resting soon instead of trying to stream early, because I think I'd just kill myself if I kept going at it really hard. So.
All right.
Yeah, I'll see you guys later as well. Thanks for stopping by and chilling out.
Bye.